an interview with Senator Rand Paul, which is scheduled for the next segment. Now, Rand Paul, has dropped hints that he's thinking about a run for the presidency in 2016. Done nothing to discourage that. In fact, he's talking here with Ben Shapiro of Breitbart News, and the question about the presidency comes up, and here's how Senator Rand Paul responded.
There's been a lot of talk about, what let's say you become President Paul at some point in the future.
I like the ring of that.
And, let's say Israel comes under attack from its enemies. Does the United States stand with Israel in terms of giving military foreign aid?
Well, absolutely we stand with Israel, but I think what we should do is announce to the world, and I think it's pretty well known, that any attack on Israel will be treated as an attack on the United States.
So that's Rand Paul. A couple of things. One, I like the sound of that. President Paul, he says, I like the sound of that. So I think what that tells us, frankly, is that he's in it. He's running for president in 2016. So his campaign has begun. And that's part of why he's making himself available, I think, so widely, is because he would like to be the president of the United States. And I think he's a very worthy candidate. Now, I'm going to probe him on some things in the next segment, but I think he's a guy that conservatives need to keep their eye on. Now, he wants to create a libertarian conservative coalition, and that's where I think the concern that we have as conservatives, that's where our concern is. What do you mean exactly by libertarian conservative? Now, I am a libertarian on economic issues, but I am a conservative on social issues, and so we need to get some clarification from Senator Rand Paul if that's what he means by libertarian, or does he mean libertarian on some social issues? And we'll ask him about that. And here's what he says in clip 38, Rob, and this is the concern I've got, and this is what we need to ask him about, where he says that the GOP must evolve and adapt. And the question is, well, evolve to what and adapt to what? Let's listen.
We haven't decided. We will continue to pursue and try to make that decision over the next 2 years or so. One of the main reasons for going to Israel, though, is to learn more about it. I'm going to be on the Senate Foreign Relations now for the first time, and I wanted to learn more firsthand information about the problems in the Middle East. Whether or not I will run for president, that decision will come probably in 2 years, and we'll, in the meantime, try to be part of the national debate. We think the Republican Party needs to evolve and adapt, or we're going to become a permanent minority party. We're not popular, and we have not been competitive out in California on the West Coast or in New England. So we think a little more of a libertarian Republican, someone who is a strict constitutionalist, but also believes in a strong defensive military, but not necessarily in an overly aggressive or bellicose, let's get involved in everybody's civil war military. I think that has more appeal to independents and some people who've given up on the Republican Party.
So that's Senator Rand Paul saying, look, the Republican Party has to evolve and adapt. So we'll try to ask him for a little bit of clarification on that. And says it needs to become a little more libertarian. We need a little bit more libertarianism in our conservatism. So we'll ask him to clarify that. And time permitting, we'll probe his position on some other issues that are naturally of concern to anyone who is considering a choice, someone to horse or horse to back in 2016. So Senator Rand Paul scheduled for right after the break. Hope you'll stay tuned for that. Let me see. I had another story here that I thought was kind of interesting. Oh, you'll love this. This is out in San Francisco. And this is, again, a sign of the decline of the mainstream media. They don't have enough newspapers in San Francisco to help the animal control people have enough newspapers for the bottom of doggy cages.